Hey, Mickey, are you ready for like a totally radical episode to do tonight?
Excellent. Yeah, bro.
Okay, because dudes, it's Monday night. It's totally radical that it's 8 o'clock, but you know what time it is. It's time to start your week off right here on Nerd Initiative with Play for Keeps, the show. This week and this month, it is the April O'Neil Turtles. That's right. We are talking Ninja Turtles all month, so we're going to start off where it started all, right at the beginning. We're talking about the 1980s Turtles. Mickey, can you totally tubular? Please, slap that button and play that intro.
Cowabunga, D.
Peace and power is the reason we are singing. Peace and power, eating any time of day. Peace and power, when it comes to food, that's what we say. Peace and power. Peace and power, always better the next day. Peace and power. Peace and power makes us feel alright. Peace and power makes us feel alright.
Gonna make us feel alright.
I'm not kidding. That album really is in my playlist.
It's good.
It really is. But
Surprisingly
we'll
good.
get to that. We will get to that eventually. What is going on? Welcome back, Nerd Initiative. My name's Off the Cuff Tom. And you know what? It is Play for Keeps, the show. It's Monday night. Mickey, how was your week?
It's been a long one, and I think
Hold on. I screwed this all up because Pete's Power got in my head. I don't have my flow going right now. Seriously. Welcome back, Nerd Edition. My name's Off the Cuff Tom, and with me, as always, he is the Kawa to my bunga.
there you go.
The rad in radical. He is the voice of Nerd Nation. He's Mickey CWK Smith. What's going on, Mickey? There we go.
There you go. So yeah, it's been a long week, but I got to be honest with you. I think I'm just having a hangover from that last show of Masters of the Universe March Madness, right? Like all week long, I've just been thinking about that. I was like, did we just peak? Am I going to be able to match that? Like, what are we going to do? But I mean, we got a pretty good subject to possibly at least match that energy with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
For all April, we are set up. We are talking about April O'Neil's month of Turtles. So before we do that, trust me, we have 40 years of stuff to get into, but we got to talk about everything that is relevant in the now. So we're going to talk a little bit of toy news.
Yes.
All right, we've got stuff going on right now in toy news. There's some great things. Mickey's got some stuff. I got some stuff. So let's talk some stuff. Go ahead. I mean, we are talking about green characters. So what do we got first?
That's right. We're going with the big green. And that is a new Maximum Series Marvel Legends Incredible Hulk. This is the one that was rumored to be dropped next, and it is confirmed, obviously. So we learned a lot about it, and I'm going to be honest with you, it wasn't a lot of good things. Before I even went and listened to all of my favorite toy influencers, I kind of looked at this and thought, we've already had like 10 of these. Like, this is not that different with a few minor changes from any other Hulk figure we've ever got before. As far as the mold goes, other than the toe crunch and the soft chest area, it's pretty much the last Hulk we got from, I think, the 80th anniversary. I think it's the same mold almost exactly. So I was a little disappointed in it, but I do like that because of that soft chest flex, instead of being hard plastic, you can get that full-on Hulk clap.
The Gamma Slap. Yep.
That's really cool, but I just don't know if that's enough. This thing is like $60 too. I don't know if that's enough for me to go, all right, I need that. Because honestly, I don't have a lot of, I only have like 2 Hulks in my collection, and that's all I really feel like I need. So I might wait and see if this ever goes on sale. I don't think this definitely isn't going to be a pre-order or a first, pickup.
I'll have to agree. This is definitely a sit and wait. I appreciate the fact that they went for this soft plastic, but how is that going to hold up in the long run for collectors? Like,
That's
are
true.
we going to,
Think about
is this going to foam out? Is this gonna like? There's a lot of things that could go wrong with this.
Yeah. I mean, you get a lot of cool accessories, with the effects and the missiles, and
And
like
that's great.
you
Well,
get
hold
3
on.
heads.
How much is the Spider-Man maximum fig?
I think it was 50. Like it wasn't much cheaper.
Yeah, I think what Hasbro needs to do when it comes to this line is we had something great in the Power Ranger Lightning collection in the remastered or the remorph figures.
Yeah.
And the price point was perfect at $35.
Yeah.
Did it have all the accessories that I think we needed? No, but everybody knows I have my thoughts on the Power Ranger Lightning collection, and one day we will do that as an episode. Trust me. Hold on to your butts. But I mean, if you take a look on there now, if you look, that Hulk does have with the molding, that plastic has a nice little shine in the purple. Like we're going to give him a little bit of credit, and I like the fact
Yeah.
that they tried to do a light effect on there. The one big thing is the fact you get that Gamma Slam, that
Yes.
slap. I'm all about it. But if it's $60 freaking, no.
I don't have a good picture of it here where you can see it, but my biggest gripe with this figure is the elbows. It's got that elbow, and the same Hulk had the same thing where you bend them at the elbow, and there's like this really sharp point that comes out right here from.
Because they tried to do the point,
Yeah. And so you don't have the double jointed elbows, which is whatever, but it creates this really ugly, like when you have them like this, it creates this really ugly like point that comes out that looks like he's got like a horn or something coming out of his elbow. So it's
$59.99.
It's just not in my future unless it goes on clearance one day. Like, all right, I might grab it. So
I don't know. Hold on. I got a really good picture that shows you these like pointy horn elbows, but we'll keep this going because I don't have to change everything around.
Yeah. I'm just a little disappointed because they promised all these new molds and all these new features, and they did it with Spider-Man, kinda. This one, they kind of dropped the ball, in my opinion. So,
well, between the soft plastic and the I don't know, man.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'll wait to see some reviews. We got a new fall lineup for Masters of the Universe roll out. Obviously, we had Thundercats Masters of the Universe drop, Wave 1 drop earlier this week, or no, last week.
Last week.
Pre-ordered them all.
Bear with us. We are a week behind because we broke Mickey last week. We broke, so it's, I'm sorry.
But we got those. We've got some more cartoon collection coming. I actually did pre-order that Orko because I wanted that real bad. And then we've got a few new Eternia figures from Masterverse. Man, that Blade is gonna be in my house ASAP. And Terraclaws. I was really hyped to see that in the Blade. The Blade got me. I was like, dude, I gotta get that.
Okay, now is that legit Hordak? Because I'm telling you, that design looks more like it's more to Sparta than it is Hordak.
It might be. I was thinking that too.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a cool little drop, I think. I think that's the only reason they would keep it secret, because you can look at it and tell it's Hordak-like.
Yeah, like, hold on. Let's just put the coming soon over the boobs. I'll say it.
Yeah, exactly.
We're all grown-ups here. Boobs.
Oh, man. But yeah, those are... The Thundercats are out now. The cartoon collection is out now, or at least half of them are. The top 3. They don't have Bo, Whiplash, or Shadow Weaver out yet. And I don't know if... I think Terraclaws is up for pre-order, but I don't know about the rest of those. So they are rolling them out slowly. These aren't all out right now.
I'm holding off until I physically see these Motu Thundercats before I get them. I really want them in hand. And if any, I'll bet you will. But again, I will lean more to the Thundercats than I will the He-Man characters. But yeah, I'm really interested to see how these come, especially after this whole past month. I'm so pumped and energized. And again, something that we did miss. The Nacelle company did their big huge reveal last week during which convention?
Was it WonderCon
or WonderCon? There was 2 big conventions at the same time.
I think it was WonderCon.
Sure.
Yeah.
The new exclusive Wave 2 figures. Now we already knew from New York Toy Fair that Captain Kirk from his Generations iteration. That means this is his last time we see him in the ugly maroons. This is when he finally dies.
Is this figure?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That's the figure that was announced at New York Comic Con. So he's coming with all these other accessories. I'm really looking forward to it. And then I'm going to go back to the big
Go back. Go ahead.
one. So here's everybody else. Captain Janeway from Year of Hell.
That's crazy.
This is having that great interview. Again, you can go back here on our Nerd Initiative YouTube to our discussion at New York Comic Con with me and Mr. Brian Volkweiss, talking about all these fantastic characters that he's putting out the characters that he would think we would want, or as a collector. So Captain Janeway, specifically from the amazing episode Year in Hell, to Paul from Enterprise, Nog, God bless him. He Favor the Bold. Like, this is, after he finally became an engineer. And I mean, rest in peace to the actor, but you got Kirk's baby mama. You've got Romulan Commander. Now, do you know who that is? Romulan Commander?
That it looks familiar because that's from the original series, and that's
this is the original series.
That's the one I watched the most
time
of.
We ever see from TOS, the first time we ever see actual Romulan. So the famous GIF of Spock going,
yes, okay,
is from this episode. But also, this particular actor came back and played Sarek.
I remember
Spock's father.
Yeah,
and he's played that character for what, 50 years?
Didn't he play him in the newer iteration as well in the movie?
In Next Generation as well.
Okay.
He came back and reprised the character. Worf and Geordi from Generations again. Like, this is just such a who's who. Bem, I have no idea. I never watched the animated series. Valorous from the Undiscovered Country, who was supposed to be the replacement for the atypical Vulcan. Yeah. It's like from Star Trek 5. Right? No, 6. I'm sorry. 5 was Final Frontier. Why does God need a spaceship?
Yeah.
So much fun.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Trekkie, right? Like, I did watch the original series a lot with my dad growing up, and kind of caught glimpses of the Next Generation. But I was definitely into the movies, especially that first iteration of them, and the most recent. So, like, for me, if I was ever going to start collecting Trek figures, they would be movie based completely, and like that Kirk and that Valeris look pretty cool. I was like, those are ones I would kind of want, but I'm not at a point where I want to collect anything like that yet. Maybe one day.
I don't know, but I definitely want to get all these extra little accessories that come with Kirk. I'm assuming this is going to be at a different price point than the other figures. But yeah, like the eggs, the axe, the firewood, his horse.
Yeah. It's
it's
cool.
just weird.
I like these specific things. Like, this is cool. You don't see a lot of people do that with toys now, except for like maybe Super 7 or one of those like bigger companies. So it's really cool to see Nacelle do something like this. It's very specific.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Move.
All right. And what do we got next? Something that's kind of a bull or just invincible?
If you don't know, I will sing the praises of Jada Toys from the hilltops. Many times have I done that on this show. And now, are we going to get invincible figures from Jada Toys? That's kind of what it's been announced, but nothing at all. Just, we know that Skybound and has signed on for more licensing, with different companies, and Jada is one of those companies. So I'm like, please, 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 I will buy invincible Jada figures. Make it happen.
No, I want the new G.I. Joe Hasbro figures. I want the comic book, the new G.I. Joe run we've been covering.
Yes, that would be cool.
All good about the 80s cartoons and Larry Hama run, but give me the new G.I. Joe figures.
I didn't read it. I read it very briefly. It just said Skybound. So, hey, I don't see how that would work, though, because I feel like Hasbro would have the like... Well, I don't know, because I don't know if it's different because of the comics and everything else, but I just feel like Hasbro would have a clinch on that and Transformers, because I was like, dude, Jada Toys Transformers, I'll buy those.
But we are getting our Void Rivals figures. Ken's excited about that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Mm-hmm. Who was that through? Was that through Hasbro? I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, there you go. That's the way the cookie crumbles.
So that's all we got for toy news this week. I personally didn't have any pickups. I bought stuff for my wife, but that's about it. Now, considering we are talking about turtles this week,
I have Super Shredder.
Got him.
Yeah, dropped him off today. Not today, but like last week on the. It's pretty cool, man. I don't know if I want to open it or not. It's really cool.
A big fig too.
It is. It's like a deluxe figure, and I also got this X-Force Nightcrawler from the new Marvel Legends wave.
Nice. And who's the Build-A-Fig in there?
Nemesis.
Oh yeah.
Who I don't know that well.
Anything else? Anything big deal that you got this week?
I do want to just a couple of things just to kind of wrap up. I know March Madness is over for us, but we did have a winner.
We
in
did.
our tournament. So it came down to original 1982 Filmation He-Man and 2002 Skeletor. And after many fives of votes, we got a winner, and that is what we all kind of figured would probably happen, and that is the 1980s Filmation He-Man is the master of the universe March Madness tournament champion. So yeah, congratulations. And I will say one more thing. I have not gotten a single DM about this. So we still have this giveaway, and I'm keeping it live until someone lets me know what all those oops panels are. You can DM us on any of our social media platforms. It will get to me, and the first person that answers, this is in the mail. All right. So just don't forget. Just go find those oops panels. You can watch our episodes in like 2x speed. Just find the panels.
It's the truth.
So that's all. What do they call that? Old business or whatever. However they do special meetings. But yeah, there you go. That's all I got. Before
That's
we
all
move
we got. Gotcha. Well, let's move into it then. We are talking about it. We're starting. It's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles week. It is the 1st of April O'Neil month of Ninja Turtles. Kudos to Mickey for making this awesome logo, by the way.
I worked really hard on that.
Yeah, I would like to figure that one out. So what we're going to do is, if you take a look, it's all month of April O'Neil. We're just using it just as for fun. But if you take a look on our first page, these are all the Aprils we're going to be covering this week. Okay, we got 40 years of Turtles to talk about. So
yeah,
we got time. So we had to pace this out.
For sure.
Like, really.
And we'll hit on them, but I feel like a lot of people know the humble beginnings of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. 1982-83, Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman come together in Dover, New Hampshire, to create comic books. They were big Jack Kirby nerds, both of them. And they just happened to match up because I believe Peter had the job at a newspaper and Kevin was looking for a job at the newspaper. And they were like, no, but we'll hook you up with this dude who draws for us because you guys kind of have similar style. So they hooked up. Kevin ended up moving in and got another job to help pay. And they kind of created Mirage Studios in their living room. I remember finding out about this, like, I don't know, maybe 8-9 years ago. And I was like, that is so clever. I did not know that's what Mirage came from. It's a mirage of a real studio because it's basically our living room. But as you can see, they drew, I think it was Kevin who drew the first turtle, if I'm not mistaken, as a joke, just trying to make Peter laugh. And Peter's like, hey, that's kind of cool. I'm going to draw one too. I'm going to spruce it up a bit and hit him with the reply. And then they just kept going back and forth and adding to it until they had 4 turtles that looked really cool. And they like inked it and made like a cover out of it. And then they were like, let's make a story out of this. This is kind of fun. I love that it came out of this place of like collaboration and love for comic books that these two guys ended up making the biggest like brand of all time almost when it comes to toys and probably cartoons. I don't know. So,
and the big thing is that these came out of just pure fun. These weren't something that was made to sell toys, to be a brand.
Right.
This was a passion project, a labor of love, and you can definitely tell it was.
Definitely, because they like drained all their savings and like borrowed money from one of them's dad or stepdad to like print 3,000 books of the first edition, and were like pushing them hard and got the eye of a couple publishers, and they were like, "Hey, we'll sell those," and then they were going like that. And I didn't know this either till today when I was doing some research. They sold, I don't want to get the number wrong, but I probably am, 185,000 copies, I think, of the first issue, and they compared it to like a more recent Spider-Man comic book that only sold like 135,000. So we're talking about 1983 selling more than a book like a couple years ago. A Spider-Man book. I was like, dude, that really shows how successful it was. Oh man, so it's big stuff. But
now, speaking of Marvel, you know,
Yeah.
there is a correlation between one of our favorite people in Hell's Kitchen. You know, he might be born again, but talking about the Turtles' birth, there is a tie to Daredevil and the Turtles. You know, there was an accident and someone got hit and there was radioactive waste. And, you know, we can't flat outright say, hey, by the way, Mirage might happen in the Marvel universe, but it might not. And, you know, well, we have a stick over here, but a splinter over here. And instead of the hand, they're going to fight the foot.
Those origin panels right there,
Yeah.
I couldn't fit the Daredevil origin panels up there, but they're very, very similar. At least with the wrecking truck part and saving the guy.
It's the synergy, man.
Yeah. So you know, they were big fans. They always told you we were big fans of Marvel Comics, especially Jack Kirby. So yeah. You know what though? I'm disappointed that we've had so many TMNT crossovers, but I don't think we've ever had a Daredevil crossover.
Oh, I really think there has been.
Has there been? Okay, I just don't know about it.
I know the Turtles have crossed over with Batman more times than I can tell you.
Yeah. And I'm like, dude, how are you going to be over there with Batman, but not with the guy who like shares an origin with you, Daredevil? Because that would be dope. They probably have showed up somewhere, and I just don't know it. You know what I'm saying? Chat, let me know. Let me know if Daredevil and TMNT have ever teamed up. Comics, cartoons, whatever, commercial. I don't care. Like even if it's like a small cameo.
Yeah. Pizza was late and they needed a really, really good lawyer. Who knows?
Yeah.
But out of the cartoons came, you know, merchandising.
So I think the guy's name was Mark Friedman that finally begged them and convinced them to go sell their brand to big companies to make buttloads of money. And he did that by promising them they would have creative control, because that was a big deal. Like we see other people get screwed and they change and pervert their product. And then they were like, we don't want that. We want to have final say. So, okay. Goes to Mattel. They're like, no, this is lame. Get out of our office. We're not making those toys. Because at this point, they were just the comics. I think they maybe made like 8 issues by this point.
Yep.
And so they took it to Hasbro, where one guy, I forgot his name, was like, hey, this is actually kind of cool. I'm going to run it up the chain. And then they were like, no, kick him out. Like, we're not doing that. This is stupid. It's not marketable, right? This dark, gritty comics. How are we going to make toys out of this? You know what I'm saying?
And at this point, they were already in the beginnings of
He-Man. So
yeah, we were coming.
they didn't need to diversify because they were bringing in the money.
Which they were coming to the end of it, honestly. But yeah. So they catch up with Playmates, who makes dolls and plushies at this point, who are trying to break into the action figure business. Lucky them that they said yes to this. But of course, there was a caveat. All these toys have a cartoon. You have to have a cartoon. So Freeman set about trying to figure that out. And then they ended up changing a lot of stuff about the Turtles. You know, like I said, you have to have the cartoon to go. You have to have something to advertise.
You need the
toys
22-minute
TV.
commercial. 22-minute commercial. That's what you need.
And of course, like I said, these things weren't really marketable to kids. It was dark. There was cursing. There was violence, like blood. And
Damn!
they killed Shredder in the first issue. You know what I'm saying? So they had to change it up a bit. We had to make it more marketable. We had to make it appealing to families and kids and the people that are actually going to buy toys, right? Because at this point, it would probably work different now because a lot more adults are into the collector craze and action figure craze. So
I still don't see an adult turtle thing coming out
Because of kids' access to media nowadays,
yeah,
I don't see it happening. Like Devil May Cry just dropped last week on Netflix, but it's you still know it's an adult show.
right. I need to watch that, by the way. It looks pretty cool.
Excellent, by the way.
Okay, good. I'm glad I got a good recommendation. So we got a huge change in turtle makeup where we go from these dark black and white brutal dudes, these ninja assassins, to some party dudes who are just trying to hang out in New York City, man, and live their life. But the Foot Clan is giving them a hard
And
time.
eat pizza.
Yeah, discover how good pizza is with all kinds of weird toppings. That reminds me, I want to ask what your weirdest toppings would be if you were a Ninja Turtle. You gotta give me.
Barbecue sauce, smoked chicken, and pineapple.
I like that.
It is really good.
Mine. Oh, go ahead.
I also like blue cheese, gorgonzola, and pears. Oh yeah, on a whole wheat crust. So people know that I say I just don't like pizza. I really do like pizza if it's done the way I like it.
Okay.
So it's easier for me to drive 45 minutes up to a shop that I know that does full wood-fired pizzas with cracker thin crusts that still hold up once you cut it.
I like that.
You know, and don't get me wrong, I'll get a New York slice when I'm down at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
But in general, no. And pizza where I live is garbage. I don't care if people ask me, hey man, we're in New York. Where's a good New York pizza? I don't know, New York City?
Not here.
4 hours that way?
I was trying to think of what would be a weird flavor that I would if I was a Ninja Turtle on a Ninja Turtle episode, I would ask for a weird flavor of pizza. And I was like, hang with me here, okay? Pickles, Oreos, and bacon.
So there is a pizza place up here, a local brewery that does do a white pickle pizza.
I love pickles.
So good.
It's on like Donkey Kong.
Oh, it's so good.
I agree with my man, Daniel.
It's pineapple on pizza. Yuck. Well, you know what?
I'm with you, Daniel.
To shell with you. I don't care.
Solidarity, brother.
So, because of the remarketing, the show that finally redefined cartoons, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, had a 5-episode sneak peek pilot that premiered in technically, because I can't type apparently, 1087.
Man, I did not know turtles were that old.
Yeah, seriously. Well, they did go back in time in the third movie.
That's right. They did.
Sure. But in 1987, my fat fingers couldn't type
that's good.
all that well. But it ran right over the Christmas holiday, which I think was really smart because all the kids were home.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Yep, kids were home. So it was 5 episodes. It was the original pilot, and then it ran from December 28th to January 1st. But the show itself didn't debut until October 1st, 1988. And again, it was still the first 5 episodes, and then it went into the actual series. And we cannot forget how that theme song. I mean, let's be honest. 80s cartoon theme songs hit on a completely different freaking level.
Facts.
You are never going to beat them. I honestly think, has there ever been a really, really good theme song since the 80s?
Probably.
I need to know.
Hey, well, cartoon. Hold on. Yeah, let me think about that cartoon. Because I was about to say Power Rangers, but that's not a cartoon.
Yep.
Yeah, there's probably not a lot.
I probably could name at least 5. If that.
If that.
You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so the cartoon started, and then we jump into the first wave of figures. that was extremely smart. They did exactly what they needed to. They took a page out of He-Man and did exactly what they needed. They did the original wave of villains. They did the original wave of characters. The weird thing is, though, is that on the cartoon, to save money, the turtles were all the same color. But when we finally got these figures in hand, I remember my first time picking up my Donatello. I was like, dude, he's got a tan. Hold up. You know?
Yeah.
Other things, Bebop, Rocksteady, these are completely new characters made just for the cartoons. These guys were never in the comic books until much later.
Yeah. Obviously, this was a hit by going with like the main cast. You know, you got to have the 4 turtles. You got to have Splinter, April. You got to have Shredder. You got to have a Foot Soldier. And then Bebop and Rocksteady are also automatics. For me, I remember getting like Bebop and Rocksteady last, right? When I started getting toys, I had to get the Turtles first, Master Splinter, Shredder, April, Foot Soldier, and then like I think it was, if I remember correctly, it was really hard to find Bebop and Rocksteady, and like eventually I was able to get them. But I think this is a killer first wave. Great work by them. I don't think. I mean, sure, you want to add like maybe Krang or something, but that's okay because he came along in wave 2. So.
One thing I always questioned, okay, is that peg of weapons, that, you know, that little pegboard of weapons. Like, okay, does everybody need ninja stars or the punching daggers or, you know,
or farm tools,
kunai looking things? Yeah, I'm like, come on.
Hey man, there's a lot of weird stuff.
And it was on all of them.
There's a lot of weird stuff in the sewers. You got to be ready for anything.
New York sewer rats. Come on. I mean, they have their own king.
I loved the card art on these. These were killer, man. Like, it's like street art. It looks like straight out of the comic book, honestly, but colorized. And then you had the back of the cards, which were even better because you got your little G.I. Joe bio, you know, that was really cool, that told you everything you need to know about the character. And then you also had like the origin story up there on these first few waves. You had a cool little story from them. And then you had a pizza point. Did you collect pizza points, Tom?
I think I did, and I never did anything with them.
I did not either. I collected them as well. And I didn't know there was a catalog. So like, I didn't know what to do with them. I just thought, hey, I got pizza points. I must be cool, I guess. I don't know. But apparently
they're probably still collecting dust with my pogs. Who knows?
If you had collected those, you know, there was 1 on every figure. There was like 2 or 3 on a vehicle and like 4 or 5 on a play set. And like, there was a catalog that I didn't know about again. You could send in t-shirts, posters, other weird things, probably like pins and postcards and stuff like that. You know, just small knickknacks that you could trade them in for merchandise wise that was exclusive to that. So anybody who has that stuff, probably worth quite a bit of money.
Totally.
Radical.
Yep.
All right, moving on.
We moved on too fast.
Oh, okay. Go back. What did we skip?
Oh, we were on 9, and then okay, there we go. 10.
There you go, yeah. So yeah, we've got the original toy line lasted from 1988 to 1997. That's crazy to me. Most toy lines 5 years tops, maybe. These guys almost made it a decade. And I think we'll talk about everything as we go, but there was a lot of contributing factors because whoever was marketing this thing, they knew to put their hands in every category: video games, movies, TV, everything. So they sold 400 figures and that included the vehicles and play sets as well. Sorry, 400 toys.
Whoa, hold on a second. You're talking about vehicles on here, and we got the mutant module, and we have the, you know, the party wagon. But you missed the best one of all. Where's the Technodrome?
Hold on. It's right here. My bad.
Oh, thank you. Grown up money, folks.
Don't come at me. So yeah, they sold $1 billion worth of toys in 4 years, and it made them the 3rd best-selling toy figures of all time behind G.I. Joe and Star Wars. Dude, that is some very high-profile company. Star Wars and G.I. Joe.
That's a lot of scratch. Now, do you know about scratch?
Like money?
We talked about scratch before. So Scratch was the last figure ever released by
Hmm.
Playmate. He's the jail cat. Now, Super 7 did have a new figure coming out, which we did talk about on Toy News a few episodes ago. But if you look up the prices that Scratch goes for now, like we're talking in the thousands of dollars for being the last ever released turtle figure, and it's such a limited run. It is crazy. One thing that you got to realize when it came to the Turtles, and you're going to start seeing this in the other waves, is these guys were so smart in redefining, or hey, we've got stealth ninja this, or we've got this ninja that, or hey, we've got extra mutation this. Like they took a page out of the Batman catalog.
Oh yeah,
Arctic suit Batman. I'm sorry, look, I'm always going to use Arctic suit Batman as my
that's
excuse.
fair. That's fair.
But it's just crazy how many different things. Like I remember. Okay, so I want to hear everybody in the chat here. I want everybody to talk about, let's talk about some of our favorite turtle figures, or our most memorable ones. Like the turtles that had the shells that opened up that were their own storage containers. They did the automorphin kind of thing, where you opened up the front and you flipped their head.
Yep.
They had, what else did they have? I had a Donatello that you could wind up and put in the tub or the pool with you, and he would swim.
You had
I remember
pizza
where
shooters.
I lost that. Thanks, Mom.
Yeah. You had the pizza shooters that come out of their like stomach or whatever. They're holding like the pizza oven and shoots out the pizza. You had them in so many different costumes, sports, uniforms, military uniforms, sports, historical uniforms, all kinds of Star Trek. I mean, there was everything. They were cross marketing like a mofo, and it made them a lot of money.
Back then, not even now.
Yeah.
What we know now, they were ahead of the game.
Absolutely. And I think I checked. They're currently number 4. I wrote that up there behind. What do you think they're behind? What's number 3 right now?
Number 3 right now?
Yeah.
I mean, I would say it's probably what would be my go-to.
Okay.
But it just doesn't make behind Power Rangers.
Nah.
Okay.
It's Transformers. Transformers is number 3.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
I think they took a break.
It was such a leading question. So
yeah. They kind of faded for a while there, but they came back in the 90s pretty strong. So, and then now they're everywhere. So yeah. So you can just see here, wave 2, wave 3.
Wave 2, I was going through this as we were doing the homework. Now, I don't know what is different about that particular Donatello there next to Slash, but I can tell you out of Wave 2 and Wave 3 is where I had the majority of my figures. So I know I had the Rock Soldier, Krang. I think I had Usagi Yojimbo. I definitely had Pizza Dude, Wingnut, Muckman, Mutagen Man, Slash. I adore.
Yeah, big
fan. I adore Slash. There was at the Syracuse convention. There was a dude who draws Slash, and it was like a free sticker. I'm like, yeah, I'll take one. Panda Khan, I know I had him. I think I had the Fugitoid. I think the reason I don't remember the Fugitoid in future episodes and whatnot because his coloring was different in his toy figure.
Well, he was the original comic book character that Eastman and Laird were drawing before they went on with TMNT. So he was kind of like a throwback. That was cool.
But did we ever get all the Punk Frogs?
I don't know. No, I don't think so. I think we only got the 2. We got Napoleon, and I don't remember the Horn Frog's name. Wait.
Wait, hold on.
We just got, what's his name? Napoleon Frog?
Yeah, Napoleon Bonafrog. And then
I don't remember the Horn's name.
Yeah, Genghis Frog.
Yeah.
They were all named after medieval warlords.
Yeah. The Punk Frogs. Oh,
well,
man.
as opposed to Renaissance Paters.
Yeah.
I don't think that's storage shell, Donnie, because it's not bulky enough. It ain't thick enough, Daniel.
It ain't thick enough.
Yeah.
I had all of these except for Fugitoid and Pizza Face and Scumbug. I think I had everybody else on here on this picture.
Yeah. I might have had Genghis Frog.
TMNT toys. Let me see. I want to know what that Donatello is real quick. I have a website for that, actually. That's Wave 3. Am I correct? Yes, 1990.
Yeah. Like Ray Fillet, I never liked him.
That is Storage Shell Donatello.
Well, excuse me. Good call, Daniel.
Winner. Ding, 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 ding.
Ding, ding, ding. Golf clap, golf clap.
Kind of weird that they just released him in that wave and not all the turtles
Yeah.
at the time, but that is what it is. Well,
I
let's
know
move
I
on.
wanted Metalhead. I
Dude,
never
he was
got
one
it.
of the best. He was one of the best. Yeah.
You know,
I-
now in between waves, and because of the success of the cartoon, we had to get him up on the big screen. And this is still one of Mickey's all-time favorite movies. And you know what? I haven't watched this in a very long time, and I really should.
man, you
I
got
know
to.
my niece last year was going through this huge Turtles thing.
Yeah.
So I think this would be great. But yeah, go ahead, man. This is all you.
Yeah. So
This is your movie.
we got a much darker tone from the toys and the cartoons. Not quite as dark as the comics, but somewhere in between, like a happy medium, I feel like. Jim Henson Studios and Golden Harvest Pictures. If you know anything about Golden Harvest Pictures, kung fu movies, and really good at them. Made
Yep.
a lot of Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan movies back in Hong Kong. So to have them and these martial arts experts on set, it's a big deal for a Ninja Turtles movie. And plus, Jim Henson Studios, that's huge as well. I don't know if you guys have ever saw any of the behind the scenes of these, the way they made those masks with the animatronics and stuff. Just glorious, man. There's a lot of work put into this movie, which I appreciate. And you could tell when you watch it. There was a huge backlash on the initial test screening. Company execs, all the guys were like, you screwed us. Like, this is going to bomb. People are going to hate this. What have you done to us? Like, we've just blew all this money. We're going to go down in flames. But what happened? It's the highest grossing independent film until 1999, right? Secret of the Ooze came close, but not quite. So it actually had a huge following, a huge opening, and people loved it. But parents pushed back on the violence pretty hard, actually. So hard that in Secret of the Ooze, they didn't get to use their weapons at all, which was
Nope.
And I didn't realize until I got older, and I was like, "Oh my god, they don't use their weapons." The only weapon I can remember is in the opening when Michelangelo has combat cold cuts, he has the sausages, and Donnie uses like a foam like thing to hit the guy with. And I was like, "Okay, so that's cool." Budget was only 13.5 and grossed $202 million. This was bankable, baby. Like, it was TMNT mania. I mean, parents took their kids to see this because I don't think they realized it was going to be as violent. So they made all that money initially too. And I was lucky to have parents that were okay with it. My dad, I watched martial arts films with my dad growing up. Like, he was a huge Bruce Lee fan. So we watched a lot of Bruce Lee movies. So this stuff was kind of lame. I mean, tame to what I have seen before. So yeah, it was all good. All gravy, baby. But still, all-time favorite movie. Like, this is my favorite movie when I need something comfortable to watch, or I just want to feel like a kid again, or I want just be happy. I'm going to put on TMNT. I might watch Secret of the Ooze as well, one or the other, but I still think this is the superior film to Secret of the Ooze, even though probably Secret of the Ooze is probably more popular amongst kids because it was so silly and cartoonish. But yeah, there you go. This is a great movie. Highly recommend it to anyone. This is a good movie.
Damn.
But speaking of Secret of the Ooze, right?
Well, hold on. Before we go to the next one, just make sure you need to understand what a crumpet is before you understand cricket.
That opening
I've been
scene,
waiting for that.
that opening scene as a kid, I was giddy because I love Casey
Bossa
Jones.
Nova, Chevy Nova.
Yeah. They're funny, and you know what? Let me go back for just a second. Let's since we're talking about it a little bit more. There's something about TMNT and the message of family and brotherhood with these guys that resonated so hard with me. And Splinter just being this really great dad who loved them for who they were and like was constantly teaching them, to be better and to be stronger. And I, to this day, I don't care how many times I've seen it, I will still shed a tear for the campfire scene when he you are all my sons, and I'm getting all. Let's go on, cause I'm about to start crying. It's a really good scene.
That figure, that whole, the figure.
Yes, naked did the whole thing. So that, not to get off topic, but that Splinter was like, I don't know how many years ago they released it, and of course it sold out quickly. And if you secondary market, you'd have to buy that one single figure by itself to afford. I mean, it's the same price as like that box set now. You know what I mean? So it's kind of crazy, but I'm glad they did that. I already have 4 turtles. I don't want to buy it again. So it is what it is.
And I also have 4 turtles sitting in my cart on Big Bad Toy Store, which I really just need to cash out. So up next we had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
I just realized
As voiced by Brian Tochi. If you remember, he was in Revenge of the Nerds.
Yes.
Yep.
I just remember I
Super
had these
nice guy
behind me.
too.
Sorry.
Yeah, I really one of these days I'm going to start springing for these NECA figures once I order them out of my cart.
And one more. Raph.
So good.
Yeah, they're beauts, man.
I think
Continuing.
I'll finally get the okay now from the missus, because I'm not spending all my money on lightning figures. Like, hey, hon, I'm going to go buy this NECA figure, which technically costs 2 lightning figures, but since I don't have lightning figures now.
Shout out to Thomas, that Cramp Yard.
Yep.
You that, yes, sir, every time. Especially now that I have sons, I'm like, oh my god, I can't do this.
So up next, we're talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: The Secret of the Ooze, released 1 year later in 1991. After the box office success of the first movie, they cranked out a sequel.
Yeah.
Now, as you were saying, because of the tone in the first film and, parents being parents, there was a lighter tone to this. One of the suit actors from the original movie actually came out of the suit and became a character.
One of the most popular characters.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ernie Reyes Jr., who was the suit actor of Donatello, finally became the pizza delivery boy and integral. Like you could have considered him a 5th turtle.
Exactly.
A whole different other thing. Trust me, that's in the cartoons and the comics, and we're not going there. We're just saying in light of, okay? Because he was a good actor. He's a child actor. He's fantastic. Nice guy to meet in person too. Because we had no mutants and we were trying to keep the darker tone of the first movie, they introduced new mutants in this film. We got Toka and Razor. Completely original, because I believe there was some licensing stuff that we couldn't get Bebop and Rocksteady. At the same time, to get those types of suits made up, I think would have cost an arm and a leg and probably a whole Technodrome.
Yeah, Laird and Eastman were part of production for this, just like they were the first movie. And they couldn't use Bebop and Rocksteady because the guy that designed them for the cartoon actually had rights to those, not them. And he was like, no. So they had to use come up with Token Razor, which I really dug. I like them. I think they're great additions to the lore. The babies. Shout out to the guy that played Shredder in these movies too. He was amazing.
Oh yeah, James Saito
and Tatsu.
Yeah, and just so good.
Yeah,
but yeah. Are we just gonna slide through all this icy stuff, or are we gonna talk about the cool thing?
No, we're not.
Because marketing and merchandising and money. The first movie had the great song by Partners in Crime called Turtle Power, which dude. I don't care. Classic. Still slaps to this day.
Almost used it for the opening theme, but I was like, it's probably got tighter copyright restrictions than coming out of our shells, so I just did that.
So Vanilla Ice, Rob Van Winkle decided he was able to tie in, and we got the ninja rap.
Go ninja, go ninja, go ninja, go ninja, go. Created a craze. You didn't know anybody in school that wasn't trying to do that dance or sing that song.
Nope. Not at all.
And I'm pretty sure a big part of their budget went to securing him for that.
Oh yeah, more than likely.
Yeah.
That and the Super Shredder costume, which was great to finally see a third mutation of a human this time, which leads into the fact of the toys that came next.
Yeah. Played by Kevin Nash, by the way, professional wrestler. Super Shredder was.
Really?
Yep. Well, he didn't really talk. He's just kind of in the suit moving, but yeah, that's him. Yep.
Really? I didn't see.
There you go.
Now that's something in wrestling I could get away with.
There you go.
Wow.
But, yeah, so we're in wave 4 now, and we start introducing some, wild things, nothing too crazy. But we also get we didn't get any toys from the first movie. I think
No.
it just came out in a bad time and bad timing. But after Secret of the Ooze, they started pumping them out in these waves. You get a couple of them here and there. So yeah, we finally see him in wave 4, excuse me. Token Razor and Super
Yep,
Shredder.
and Super Shredder. There's Space Usagi. There is Ground Chuck. I cannot remember the name of the groundhog dude because I was just playing Shredder's Revenge recently, and they're like buddy.
Yeah.
We got a neutrino, like random neutrino. We got
Yeah.
Sumo Man. Wave 5, I was out at this point.
I was too.
And I have a very personal reason why. Because right around 91, 92, I was still in that good demographic, but yeah, and that's Flock Splinter there too, by the way.
It is.
In
It
Wave
is.
5.
Yeah.
And what
a
is
lot
up
of
with this Barbie doll looking April O'Neil in the middle? I have no idea.
she was like Punk April or something like that, I think. Yeah, it went off the rails here. I don't even know if any of these guys were in the cartoon or not, or comic books, honestly.
They might have been, because I think at this point, this is when we went to Red Skies.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I mean, we've got a Canadian Moose Mountie dude. Like,
I think that's his
Corey-
name, Monty Moose, I think, or Mountie Moose. I can't remember, something like that.
oh,
And
geez.
Disco Mundo Gecko, maybe, who is one of my favorite TMN non-turtle characters from TMNT. So yeah, love me some Mondo Gecko. And Murdude,
I did have a figure from Wave 4. Now that I think about it,
what was that? Oh, I had a lot of the Wave 4, just none of the Wave 5. I don't think.
I think I had Sumo Man, and I know for a fact I had Chrome Dome.
Oh yeah, Chrome Dome.
Yeah,
I had Worm. I actually had Worm, who's like considered one of like the weirdest figures they've ever made. That blue,
the one
guy
that's
with the
next
big
to
mouth.
Usagi Jimbo.
Yeah.
Why do we need a Space Usagi? I have no idea.
It was probably a comic book throwback or something. They made it in the cartoon too, because they went in space eventually, I think. But
Yeah.
Speaking of weird stuff,
and then there was the cash grab. Because hey, the first two movies did great. Well, the first movie did great. The second one did okay. Let's make another one on the cheap. Honest to God, the budget that was on this could have been a made-for-freaking TV movie. It was so bad. Released in March of 1993. I think I saw this in the theater.
I did too.
Maybe.
I did. I was too much of a fan.
It's a mental block. It was at the Orleans 8 off Cotman Ave. I'm sorry. With a budget of $21 million and it only barely doubled. Yeah. So that means it made nothing.
Yeah.
As far as the big companies are. You're a fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3?
You know what?
We can't account for taste because you don't like pineapple on your pizza.
Oh, no, don't do that to Daniel. Hey, look, don't listen to him. You know what? I think it gets more hate than it deserves, but it's definitely like I don't know what they were thinking. Like there was so many other options and ways that they've gone, and I didn't understand. But as a kid, I was still like, anything Turtles, I'll take it. And even as an adult, I'm still like, I look at it with nostalgia glasses sometimes. And you're right. That was the problem. Henson didn't do the suits, which let's just move around over to the next. Thank you for that segue, Daniel, as we move to the next panel here. Because, man, what a downgrade.
Teeth.
Dude. The first one was really good. Secret of the Ooze, fantastic. This is probably the best.
Still good.
Yeah, they just had a more lighter feel that worked, and
Yep.
But man, I don't remember the name of the studio that took over, but they crapped all over it.
I will say the only thing scarier than Turtles with Teeth is if you catch in the original movie in April's apartment and you freeze it at that one particular frame.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know what's scarier.
You could just see the guy's eyes, man, and it's like, good.
And
God.
I honestly almost put it in here tonight too, just for that reason.
Yeah, I didn't think about it. That would have been pretty good. It's crazy. It's iconic, and I don't think I ever saw it until I got much older, and somebody mentioned
until we were taught to see it.
And then I was like, now you can't not see it. You're like, there's that guy's eyes and mouth.
Damn.
Oh man, but things are starting to get weird anyway, right? Because now the toys are kind of going in every which direction. There's so many things being pumped out with so many themes and features.
So let me jump in on this. So right around this time, and I know we're going to talk about it further down here. Yeah. This is when we started getting the Red Sky CBS Turtles, and they were started doing these prehistoric type transformations, these secondary mutations. Like it was a Deus Ex Machina. It's like, hey, the monster got big. We need the Megazord, kind of deal. So the Turtles tried to follow the same thing. Now, if you notice on all of here, one that really sticks out is there is a crossover with Star Trek and Turtles. Again, doing the crossovers way before anything else. Reason being, it was so easy for them because Star Trek and Playmates has had a deal for a very, very long time at this point. So getting the licensing rate was next to nothing. But yeah, like there were some interesting choices. Like the Toon Turtles were more, closer to like the cutesy comic book. But yeah, it just started getting weird. This is the Arctic Suit Batman.
Yeah, the one thing when I was looking through all these that I thought was kind of cool, and yeah, it's top right. You see, whichever way you look, but Raphael, it's Jim Lee like Image style
Yep.
turtles, which were really cool. I don't remember those, which bothers me because I was into Image at that time, and like I love Jim Lee, I love Todd McFarlane and the whole Spawn universe and everything. So I don't know how I missed those, and I kind of want to go back and get them, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be super expensive.
Now, below that, we're going to talk about some of my favorite stuff out of the Turtles, the weird turtle stuff, the Super Turtles. Yeah, so these were actually two anime style shorts that were done exclusively in Japan, which you can find here on YouTube, where the turtles got all these great powers. And some of this stuff was adapted into the particular dragon armors that we had here in the States as well. You just didn't know that it came off the Sentai, or I'm going to say Sentai when I don't mean that, the Toku, anime stuff. And particularly that Leonardo is when, so the turtles would morph into these larger type turtles, and then out of these turtles they would Captain Planet into a super turtle. So yeah, it's like 5 robot lions turning into one kind of idea. But I love it. If you get a chance, honestly, spend 20 minutes, look them up on YouTube, have a good laugh. You can't go wrong with it.
Oh, absolutely, for sure.
But I knew I was out of the franchise at this point.
Yeah, it was fading for sure.
And things also got totally tubularly tastily weird too. These Hostess hand pies, these were the thing. Hey, let's take a vanilla hand pie and just coat it in neon green frosting. And I mean, we're talking solid frosting. Every single chance we had them at the deli growing up, yoink. I probably could only I think if I had one now, my sugar would spike and I'd be.
Funny thing is, I don't think I ever had one. I don't remember getting them or seeing them at the store. And maybe it was just what I kind of lived out in the boonies too. So it's possible they just didn't make it out that way. But I don't remember ever seeing them. I knew about them from commercials and stuff and and ads, but I had never seen them in person. And I was like, okay, whatever. It doesn't look appetizing at all now. I don't know if probably as a kid, it probably would have caught me. Yeah, it's turtles. So yeah. I love seeing people on social media now find them. Like maybe somebody kept them collected, unopened.
That's just disgusting. But there are people that have made their own homage versions of this, and I'm like, I could do that. I mean, all it is, the really good way to make this, if you ever wanted to, is make it like an empanada style, and then coat it in the frosting, so that way you get that nice, crispy, crunchy crust.
Oh yeah, that sounds good.
I
want some empanadas.
Yep.
Now.
So you got ding dongs, ho hos, neon green pie. Yeah.
So there's a couple more weird things. We got trolls crossing over with turtles again. It's a crossover, pretty cool. Some of these things, I'm just like, I don't know. Why did we need a clown Michelangelo?
So that dragon armor that's up there, that was from the anime series.
Okay. Yeah. We got the sumo turtle right below him. The sumo turtles.
He's adorable.
He is.
I want it.
The dragon turtle, or not dragon, dinosaur. I don't know if they were mutated or what, but
so during the CBS series, like I said, they would do this, gimmick for a while where they were getting this retrograded mutation and become kind of barbaric. Not to the point that they and now again, I'm trying to remember, this is a very long time ago. We're old kids. Get off my lawn. But they would become very barbaric and overpower the bad guys, more or less. but I don't remember them like going full on dinosaur. That's why that Pachycephalosaurus that was, 2 slides ago, I remember that because I know they were doing a little time traveling. There was even one part during these seasons. Well, we'll talk about it when we get to it. But yeah, everything just merchandising.
We'll talk about it a lot more when we get to the 2012 Nickelodeon series too, because they were referencing so much of the stuff in that show, and I loved every minute of it. Like when we get to it, there's so many references to these toys, to the cartoon, to the movies. It's great. So I can't wait. Let's talk about Tom's like, I don't know what this means. The end of kayfabe.
I didn't look, man.
It's a wrestling term, so I get it.
I can tell you everything else, and I can tell you so much about everything else in this. But that top line, right there.
So let me explain it. Better explain it, not in text, but in words. So kayfabe is like in professional wrestling, where you're still kind of part of the illusion, right? Like that's the Undertaker. He is the dead man. That guy's like a zombie for real. Like that's not a guy. Like there's a certain age, or maybe not even age. Sometimes it's, I don't know, something else where you kind of go like, oh, this is a show. This is like, that's an actor. There's a guy in that suit, right? And I think the thing is though, you kind of know it, but you kind of let yourself forget it to enjoy it. This is where coming out of their shows tour, I had the VHS too, like clamshell VHS.
I have it somewhere. Wait, you had a clamshell? Because I remember it only being in a slider cardboard.
I'm pretty sure I had a clamshell. It's been a long time. It's been forever. So I don't remember correctly. But yeah, this was kind of for me like I don't know if I like this anymore. Like, not that I hated the music, but as a kid, it changed the way you looked at it and what it had been up to this point. Even with all those weird toys and stuff in the cartoons at this point. It's just something, this is where I think this was the end of the mysticism for me, where I wasn't part of the illusion anymore. And I was like, okay, on to the next thing, which was probably Power Rangers at this point. So
I'm okay with that. So let's break this down real quick. Okay. So after the end of the kayfabe, as Mickey likes to put it, this was the Turtles on tour. Now, if you'll notice, there are 2 different styles of Turtles here. The furthest one in the center was actually the original ideas concept that they were going to use, but then they realized, hey, this is not going to work. So they went to these other Turtles that are closer to me right here. And these also did the touring as well. As a matter of fact, if you look down in the bottom, they were announcing this on Oprah. Yeah. And again, you can look up the very famous questions about, who interspecies, relationships and everything. When you go back and listen to this, what's great is if you look in the liner notes of the cassette tape, you'll see that it has the full cast and everything. So Leo, Donnie, Mikey, and Raph all had vocal coaches. Okay. All the songs were still written by the Turtles, but every single one of them had vocal coaches. We come to find out years later that they were the actual singers for the voices of the characters, which I think was great. That they still, it wasn't the swap at like CNC Music Factory that you didn't know that it was, a certain person, but for looks they went with somewhere else. That they still got their nod. Yeah. Now, interestingly enough, after the success of this pay-per-view or also purchasable video, there was a second album that was released. It had 80% of the original music for the first one, and there was only just like 2 or 3 new tracks. This is, I believe, when they finally were able to figure out a way to use those second type costumes on a tour, and I know it went around the country as well. Turtles on Tour, I think they did it in a few large metropolitan areas. I don't remember. I remember that this particularly was done in New York City. It was, and I remember I was totally sucked in by this. I'm like, oh my God, we all have to sing and sing. And I was like screaming at the TV. But because the Turtles loved pizza so much, Pizza Hut did the tie-in promotion with it. So the only way you could get the cassette of this was from, did we just double click?
I'm going back. I got it.
It's okay. Sorry, I was on a roll, so I was just like,
my bad.
Yeah. Because Pizza Hut is, hey, I can only imagine. We really should do the math on how much Pizza Hut sales went up during Ninja Turtle craze.
For real. I know I started going a lot more. My family, I was like, I want to go to Pizza Hut.
I think between Turtles and Book It, I was probably going quite a bit.
Book It was huge.
Driving all the way up Frankfurt Ave. Like, I know exactly which Pizza Hut we would go to because we would go to that Pizza Hut. Not that Pizza Hut. But it's the only place you could get the actual cassette tape for it that had all the, back with cassettes. And I mean, this thing folded out and you had all the words there. Remember, it's no treats, not no trinos after the war. Okay.
You know what's funny? I don't know if in the second two movies, but in the first movie, the pizza was Domino's was the brand that they were ordering from. So I thought it was interesting that all promotional images kind of went to like Pizza Hut, or at least rights for commercials and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And as Mikey always says, forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza.
I'll never forget it as long as I live.
And I think maybe that's why Domino's pulled out after the first movie.
They got killed on that 30 minutes.
Yeah, Robbie Rist, thanks, man.
Daniel says Turtles in Time is a great game. Yes, it was a great game. We had an evolution during this time, right?
Yes, we did.
The Nintendo was released in America in 1985, and it I think it took down a lot of cartoons and toys because this kind of brought their attention. And I feel like, I don't know if any other franchises did. I don't remember them. I remember Turtles, though, really banking on this and like embracing it and making games to go along with the cartoons and the toys and the movies. And it worked because they were good games. I don't know about that first one. It was kind of whatever, and it was really hard. But the arcade game, dude, I cannot tell you how many hours I played Ninja Turtles arcade game. I didn't really play the Manhattan Project that much, but Turtles in Time, all the time. And
Manhattan Project was a great game.
It was good.
Phenomenal game. And it was only exclusive to the Nintendo.
Yes.
There was a different third game made for the Genesis at the time.
Yeah. Those fighters, I can't remember the complete name of that, but I remember renting that because it's Turtles and it's a fighting game, and that was a lot of fun too, actually. But nothing for me will ever match the arcade game because I don't know how many quarters I dropped in it at an actual arcade, and I don't know how many hours I dropped in it just playing it on my Nintendo. It was one of those things like, I'm gonna go play Turtles arcade game like all the time, over and over and over again.
I had the NES version of this, and I can definitely say this was the first time where I ever realized the difference between an arcade game and a home port.
Mm-hmm.
But I was still okay with it.
Yeah.
Now, when you would play the arcade game, who was your main?
Michelangelo. I was a party dude, man. I still am. Michelangelo forever.
Nope. For me, it was Donatello because I would spam that, the weapon, just go whah,
and that was a good weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hit attack and jump at the same time, just do the massive roundhouse, But Manhattan Project, I got to tell you, it was a great game. I really enjoyed it. Great story to it as well. Turtles in Time, which obviously was a port over from the second arcade game.
Yes.
But the Super Nintendo also had 2 exclusive levels.
I didn't know that.
I did.
But we kind of glazed over it because the background on this panel has a very difficult level from the original NES Turtles game, which as a kid kind of confused me. A lot of times I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. Like there wasn't a whole lot of direction per se. But man, that underwater level caused me so much pain as a child.
The dam level, yeah.
It was almost as bad as the Battletoads speeder glider
Turbo
level.
Tunnel. I was saying the exact thing before we started. I was telling my wife, like, look, there's 2 levels for people of our particular age that we absolutely hate. This is one, and the Turbo Tunnel is 2.
I think
no,
it's not quite as bad as Turbo Tunnel, but it was still pretty daggone rough. And it took I went through every turtle and every life they had just to finish this level eventually. I don't remember how many times I had to try, but I did eventually get it. So yeah. But it has fun, as hard as it was and as difficult as it was, still super fond memories just because of what it was.
And I think what's really cool is when you go back and play like newer games like this, like Shredder's Revenge, that they paid homage by doing that top-down map like you'd see in the original game. I think the big thing about this first game is that it was cranked out so fast. I think there was another game in development and they just reskinned it, kind of like how Super Mario 2 is Doki Doki Panic kind of idea, because then we finally got a better turtle game after, Turtles 2, and then Manhattan Project used the same type of engine. Turtles in Time, same idea. They decided to make them beat 'em ups. but you look at other games like because this was done by Ultra, so like Goonies 2 was the same company, but a lot of games just were slapped onto things that were already in development or pushed out so quick you got something bad like an ET.
I had that game, by the way.
Ooh.
Yeah. But moving on.
So we've been alluding to this, for a long time. Turtles was started off as a Saturday morning cartoon, and then it went to daily, and then finally in 1991, CBS brought the Turtles back to Saturday morning. These are known as the Red Sky years because everything has a red sky in the background because it was trying to be dark and edgy, closer to being more serious tone to stand up to Batman the Animated Series at this time. You will notice that the Turtles start actually going to attack wherever Shredder and everybody's at.
Yeah.
Bebop, Rocksteady, Krang are now a united front. They're less comical. They blow up the Technodrome. The Technodrome during the whole series was in the Arctic Circle, was in underwater, was in Dimension X, was under, in a volcano. Like, they weren't messing around. And then finally, they just didn't have it. So because we've now taken, literally Technodrome out from underneath the main villains, they introduced this new character, Lord Drag or Lord Drag. I don't even care at this point because I'm like, you are literally on your last slice, buddy. It was just getting so thin. And then they added in that kid who had his own, forced mutation being, we're going all barbaric. And I'm like, I'm out.
I mean, you can always tell when something's in the last throes of whatever it is.
Yep, it completely jumped the shark.
And it just happens. And we're gonna get a reboot real soon here, which we'll talk about in the next episode. But
yep, and it's because of everything that we had from the third movie. The only good thing that came out of the third movie was the layer set, because that was reused in Next Mutation. Okay. That was it. When they finally moved to that subway station, I was like, this is cool. This is awesome. And instead of tearing it down, they used it for the Next Mutation. And I even have a list of other shows that have used that. And I go, hey, that's the Turtles thing. But yeah, coming up next week, we are continuing on with April O'Neil's Month of Turtles, talking about pretty much the Fox era. Mm-hmm. So first off, we're starting with the Next Mutation. I don't know why Andros is hanging out there.
Wink, wink.
And then if you take a look, all four of those Turtles logos are all technically in the same story. Yeah. But the fun part is like, we like it, we don't like it. Well, we want it, we don't want it. Oh, we're going to cancel it. No, we're going to bring it back. Oh, we're going to reboot it, but we're going to bring it back. But then we'll cancel it again, but we're going to bring it back, but to the sewer. And then we're going to talk about the fourth Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie, because this one is canon to the original live action ones as well. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it has Patrick Stewart, so you can't go wrong with that.
Super underrated, but we'll talk about it more. I love
very underrated. But before we sign out, we always got to tell you guys and remind you what to do. So, of course, make sure that if you're loving the content that you got here on Nerd Initiative, especially what we're doing here for Play for Keeps, on Turnip Page, all the comic book reviews, Wrestling Night Live, make sure that first and foremost that you subscribe. Yeah. All right. And you want to make sure that you subscribe and you hit that bell for notifications and tap that thumbs up. I say slap that thumbs up. Or how about we karate chop it or whack it with our nunchuck this month. And, you let the bosses know, you let Michael, the GEO, know that we are doing, as always, a great job. On top of that, we've got so much great content coming out always for you. We've got exclusive content coming up. I know I've got some TV reviews. I'm finally going to be coming back because Doctor Who is coming back. So I'll be taking care of that. Yep. But you always want to stay up to date. So, we here at Nerd Initiative, we love our QR code. So make sure that you hit that QR code under that gorgeous face right, beside me.
There we go.
Pose.
Right there.
Vogue. Ooh. Ooh, the Zoolander. he just hit me with the blue steel. Woo! It's hard being really, really, really beautiful.
I got the black lung pop.
What is this? A school for ants? Did we ever get an ant turtle? Anyway, I think we did. But there's so much stuff going on here at Nerd Initiative. We want to make sure that you're following along. Make sure that you just like, comment, subscribe, hit the QR codes, follow along. We've got a whole month planned of Turtles. We're really liking these ideas for themed months. So if you have an idea, let us know. Jump in the comments, because you know what? Mickey and I get to think and plan this stuff out ahead of time, and that way we can bring better content for you. Awesome. Thank you very much, Mr. Daniel. It's always a pleasure.
That reminds me, before we head out of here, that I asked on social media if everyone could give me a great turtle memory or something, your history with the turtles, just anything really that we could like talk about on the show. And Daniel was the only one to answer. So just shout out to him. His favorite TMNT memory is the 1990 live action movie. He wasn't really into the cartoon. It was more for his younger brother, but that movie hooked him and he's been a fan ever since. So that's super cool because I love that movie, as I already said.
I think it's the day that I actually picked up my Turtles on Tour cassette tape. Like, I can vividly remember it.
Okay.
Yeah. We went up the boulevard. We went up Frankfurt Ave, and we went and got it. My dad's like, "Why are we doing this? Why?" And I put it in the car, and he's like, "Okay, this ain't bad."
Yeah.
I still don't know how you go from having pizza power to skipping stones.
I don't know. I listened to this album earlier today because I was trying to pick out a song for our intro. And I was like, okay. What do you got going on tomorrow night on Turn Page? Are you going to be on the show?
Of course I am. We've got a fantastic guest on. Let me pull it up because you put me on the spot. I totally forgot. Why did you have to do that?
You guys always have like really good comic book creators on, and if you don't,
we do
awesome books. So, comic book fans, I would check it out, man. It's pretty good comic book club. They talk to some.
We do. It's the internet's greatest comic book club, as I like to say. So we have Aubrey Sitterson from Free Planet from Image Comics. Image Comics does something as well. Something with turtles. I don't know.
Maybe.
Do they?
Maybe.
Maybe. Maybe we should talk about that at some point this month.
Possibly.
Possibly. They don't. It's IDW.
Yeah. They have crossed over with some Image characters.
They have crossed over with some Image characters. Not Daredevil, but they have crossed over, with other characters.
For sure.
They've crossed over with the Rangers. They've crossed over with, the folks at Grayskull. So there's a lot of great stuff happening, and we really want you to make sure you come along.
Yeah.
So as always, folks, it's always always a pleasure to have you here. All right. Be totally tubular, be radical to each other. I've always been a fan of Cowabunga, but Mickey, take us out.
Oh man. Yeah, guys, just remember when you play for what? Just remember, guys, don't just play for fun.
Play for keeps.
We're at it.